Okay, so practice. What about tone or speed and how you talk, and like what other tips can you give someone on like how to get good at sales?
Yeah, that's going to be developed over time, which is always interesting, but you can practice it. But I think everybody has different personalities in sales. You got some guys that just make jokes and they just laugh a lot. They get the client laughing and then it works for them. You got some guys that are just very logical, which sometimes works for different kind of people, especially engineers. Then you have the other people who are like charismatic. And so your tonality, the speed of which you talk is going to be very dependent on your personality, because the most important thing, in my opinion, is you need to be authentic to who you are as a person, because people can read through if you're not being real with them. If you're just being all salesy and customer servicey voice, where you're just like in the high pitched tone the whole time, it's not going to work. It just doesn't work. People like can read through that and they're like, bro, this guy is just like trying to sell me something. So to me, believing what you're saying and being authentic and real is the most important thing, which you can do with the way that you speak and the speed of which you speak it. So that it's all important. So I guess a tip would be, usually it's by the questions that I ask, and Jeremy Lee Minor always taught the pauses. So a question that I would ask is like, hey, are you looking for the highest price? Or are you looking more for like the simplest process? And then they say, let's just say they said, well, I think I want you know more the simplest process, which would be cash as is, this, that. I'd be like, okay, and why do you feel that way though? And so it's going to be like the way that you're saying it almost acts in like a concerned tone, into the point where now they feel comfortable enough to answer it. But yeah, I mean, speed and tonality and all of that stuff is going to be developed, again, based on the person and based on the person that you're talking to. And so I don't think there's a one size fits all, but there is some general rules and stuff that we kind of use. Like that'd be one of them. You can hear the tonality difference.
Do you talk? Because you talk hella fast,
I
and
slow
even
down.
like Andrew,
Yeah, he
your
talks
acquisition
really.
guy, like yesterday we were doing, we were listening to one of my guys go through a call, and you guys were like, "Du-du-du-du-du-du," and I was like, dude, I can't even understand what you guys are saying. You're like so fast. So do you slow down on the phone?
Very important. Very,
Yeah.
very important to slow down. I tell him that all the time. I'm like, bro, you got to slow down, and you need to make sure that they have enough time. Like you should not be going in right when they get done and then just going right after them, because the timing of which you talk after them is important too.
Yeah.
If you already know what you're going to say right after, that gives them that sales feeling.
Yeah.
Where you just, and then whenever people hear this whole sales training, they're like, oh, dang, that was a good close. Because they're like, they hear it and they're like, that was good. Customers don't feel like that. Clients don't feel that way. They're not like, oh, dang, that was a good close. They feel like, oh, this person's trying to sell me.
Yeah.
So what we want to do is have it feel like a conversation where they're just telling you their concerns. You're leading them a certain way, which is in the way that they want. Or if you're putting guardrails on or kind of guiding them to the best solution, they're not even noticing that this is a salesperson. And so then you just have that slowed down tonality where, yeah, you definitely have to give them time to speak, to share their thoughts, and then you're going to speak a lot slower than what I usually talk. Because, yeah, I can talk fast, and my brain moves really fast. And that's the other part, too, that's difficult, is when you already know exactly what you're going to say because you practice it so many times, you sometimes say it really fast. So that's why it's important when you're practicing to say it exactly how you're going to say it whenever you're in the sales, so you have to practice it the same way, not just, yeah, hey, if we were able to offer you cash and close quickly, what's the lowest you'd be willing to accept on it? It's like, dang, that was really fast. And I'd be like,
Yeah.
well, I mean, if we were able to offer you cash and close quickly, like, what's the lowest you'd be willing to accept on it? I practice saying it that way. That way, whenever I go to say it, I know the tonality that I want. And you can do that in a mirror. You can record yourself.
Yeah.
But you want to practice the same tonality that you're going to use. That way, whenever you get in that mode, now you're having that conversation. Now, when we're talking to you guys and I'm on like a podcast or something, I'm like, yeah, I can just spout the stuff off. I can spout off all this different stuff, and we talk really fast. I also listen to podcasts at like 1.5 speed. That's why I'm like,
my God.
I'm like, bro, hurry up and freaking speed up that call, because and also I think when you've heard so many calls, it gets really easy to be like, I already know what you're gonna say, I already know what you're gonna object to, and then you almost want to like overcome the objection beforehand. That doesn't work either.
Yeah.
You have to go through the entire process, because it's not about what you know as the salesperson. It's about letting them know to themselves about what they're going through, and you're leading them through that process.
Let's go through. Can